Ours are in their stalls at night, so. I wonder if that's why Eddie's been messing her stall up though.
Excuse me, is somebody's birthday?
Oh, we'll put it in. Oh,
Happy birthday to you.
Cha cha cha.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to and setting off FY20.
Need to mute Roger because I'm hearing an echo.
Yeah, and I think if we mute Roger, no.
So do you need to log out and just like sit between us?
No, because that one's all wired into the hybrid thing. It's hardwired. Oh, give me that. Oh,
Oh, yeah.
great.
I don't know. Roger?
I'm just gonna have cake.
Person. Can I plug you into my computer?
Right.
She
I
connects
know.
so she can. just
I was,
post.
that's right. I was kind of hoping we'd be home early, but you know what? Not to like, you know,
So I can keep it too.
Spot will never leave us alone.
That's why we're lucky to have folks that are engineers. Oh my goodness.
We have,
Can I get you a piece of cake?
That's a nice sweater. It's pretty fun to sit through.
Roger, make sure you take a piece for the person that's sitting in there with you. Is that a new person?
Oh, look it. I think it worked. Now I just have to remember not to.
You're fine. We won't let you get up.
Please yell at me if I do, because I will forget. All right.
Are we
So I
ready?
think, Roger, if you just unmute or actually. Now.
He was in the hall. He can hear us all the way down the hallway.
Further than the hallway usually.
Oh, God.
Set, Roger?
Geez. It's a secret recipe.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I think she has for the frostings and she does homemade
Seems like.
whoopie pie, pumpkin whoopie pies that are. And they have a, believe it or not, it's not a cream cheese filling that she uses on that one. That one's a pouch.
What's
A bunch
happening?
of other stuff, but they're phenomenal.
Oh my God, my sister used to make them. We called them flying bombs in your stomach for hours, but they were luscious going down.
I think we are. No one has heard anything we've said so far, so you might want to say hi
Ah.
again to everybody.
Again, sorry, I was eating. Our special news of the night is at 5. So when you see him the rest of the week, wish him a fire, Mike. Wish him a happy birthday.
Oh.
Oh.
Well, that's a really good point. So how am I? That's all on my computer.
Yeah, because that's why we have to do it so that I can take minutes.
Can you bring up on your computer
Well, she has stuff she needs to look at on her computer.
Well,
Well, I
then,
cannot take,
Let me see if I can wing this.
All right.
How's that? Because otherwise we're gonna be here all night.
meeting at 6:43. We are having a few technical difficulties, as you can tell by now. Your patience. All right,
Okay.
give it a whirl.
So as you all were aware, and the low bid came in at 19,105 cents, which is great. So we did receive three, actually we received four. But it could not be opened or counted, but I have entered into a contract. Pavement Markings Inc. and Fred has the green light to go ahead and get that line painting scheduled. Need to do it during the day because of the temperatures
Mm.
right now, so there will be sort of closures while they're doing it. We don't have a date yet, but we'll just keep. We'll try to get that information out in advance. They do want to come out as soon as possible because it's just getting cold.
Safety sign so that
Yep.
people are aware. And then all the other usual.
Yep, I think we could definitely do that, so. I can. Reading on my iPad, right?
Welcome to the town of Berlin.
Because I was really gonna try to wing it, but it's.
That's
not-
all right.
Oh, look at that. There we go. Okay. Let's see, so. Lisa actually had mentioned today the public safety renovation. An innovative project, as we all are aware, and I don't want to steal your thunder if you were going to mention.
I'm gonna put in an application for an innovation award for my member. Really great project that other communities could benefit from.
Okay, that's awesome.
Let's see, and I think those are the big ones. The main part of budget season, October 31st is the deadline for performance capital requests, so everybody's been busy with both of those. Of what is headed, coming down the pike, November 19th. The budget kickoff meetings at 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. That is a Wednesday. So typically we do department heads at 10 and boards and committees at night at 6, but you can attend either or as fits best with your schedule. We did have a department head meeting yesterday at which we discussed a number of topics, including the dress code, which goes into effect on November 1st. Wanted to give folks a little bit of time. If they had any lingering questions, I have answered a few. And Dee and I tried to stump everybody by dressing appropriately, but asking what was not appropriate about our outfits yesterday. And yeah, it didn't work so well, but we tried. So we did our best. But yeah, we're trying to keep it simple and keep it a little bit fun to the extent we can. We also will be having a Halloween parade of children from the library. Can you give the date? Is that the 27th?
it's Monday, next Monday, the 27th at 10 a.m. here at the town offices, but you can start at the library or join the parade as they walk down with Sergeant Goody. And they will trick or treat and town staff will be in costume and have goodies for all the littles.
Excellent. So, well, everyone's welcome to join that and that'll be fun. I think most town staff intend to dress up. We won't try to force costumes on people, but we will bring extra things in case folks forget. So that will be happening next week. And I think those are the main points now. Any questions?
Is FinCom still down one member?
Yes, they are.
Okay, so if anybody's interested in
Mhm.
being on the finance committee, please reach out to the finance chair.
Yes, and the moderator, Barry, as well.
All right, so moving on to the consent agenda, there are three items. The first one is an application for a one-day pouring license submitted by Ashland Brewing LLC, DBA Clover Road Brewing for Sunday, November 2nd at South Commons for the Berlin Food Pantry 5K road race. They have also submitted an additional one-day pouring license for this coming Sunday, October 26th, for the Berlin Rec Fall Festival down at South Commons. And the last one, which was a late add today, as noted on our agenda at 2:19, was to vote, authorized to vote, vote to authorize the vice chair to sign the 2025 Green Communities Grant application. I do have a question on one of them. So I don't know if you want to make a motion and then I'll second it and then we can chat.
Okay, I was gonna motion to approve with the caveat that we get the appropriate insurance documents for the pouring licenses.
I will second that. And then my additional question, specifically for the South Common Rec Festival, their application stated 11:30, but the cornhole event doesn't start until 1:30 and the actual festival doesn't start until 2. So I'm not quite comfortable for a beer stand being open for a couple hours ahead of time before the event kicks in place, because there'll be, I'm assuming, people drinking, walking around South Commons with beers in their hands, setting everything up.
Would
Well-
we like to edit it to change the
The time,
time?
can we?
They also shouldn't be walking around.
I
There is
understand that.
always a designated area.
Yes,
They're not
they-
allowed to walk the entire.
And
Okay.
agreed, and there has been, but
Yeah.
my concern is that if you open it 2 hours early.
Yes.
And it's, hey, can you go set up? It's
Yes.
gonna be, sure,
Yes, I would
Without
suggest no
thinking.
more than a half an hour before the
cornhole.
cornhole tournament starts, so that as people are warming up and getting ready, they could purchase a beverage, but I wouldn't do it for much longer than that. Historically, even before me, it's always been the hours of the event only, with an hour before and an hour after for cleanup and takedown,
Okay.
setup
So
and
in-
takedown, yeah.
If that's the precedent, can we go ahead and approve for that?
So will they resubmit another license with an
No, I
amendment,
will
or you
just
tell
change
them?
it and I will let them know what the vote was and put the appropriate hours of operation on the license, which they do have to display while they're serving.
Okay,
Okay.
So if cornhole starts at
1:30.
1:30, then the serving would be 1:30, but they could set up an hour before.
no,
No, we were gonna say a half hour. They could serve a half hour before.
so
They can
1.
set up starting at noon. They can't serve until 1. And with the 5K, they also had asked for additional time. So they wanted to serve, because it's a larger event, they wanted to serve starting 45 minutes before.
Okay, I'm all right, though.
Well, I think we should be consistent. If we're gonna
Mhm.
do a
If
half
it's
an
an
hour
hour.
for one or
Mhm.
whatever, stay consistent with whatever we're gonna do, and maybe that's written into a policy.
Sure.
Yep. I think that makes sense.
Well, and plus that too, that document needs to be updated, so perhaps it's
Yes,
just like another little
does.
caveat that we can
Mhm.
throw in there, so they
Yeah.
know ahead of time when they're checking off the time.
The
Mhm.
less of this we have to do, the
Yep.
better.
Okay. All right, so given the caveat for the insurance information, given we're going to change the pouring times for both events. The 5K, Berlin Food Pantry 5K road race on November 2nd, and the Rec Fall Festival on this coming Sunday, October 26th. And then you'll let them know.
Mhm.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right, any other questions?
Nope.
Good, okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So let me know what I need to sign for the Green Communities Grant application.
I'll grab that folder.
Okay, or you know what, I'll just follow you down when we leave and I'll sign it in there.
Oh, we have lots of things to sign.
Okay, goody. All right, And please thank the awesome Mrs. Fire Mike.
That's a good.
It's really good. I don't want to stop eating it, so if you don't
No,
mind.
go right ahead. Uh, Obviously, since I got here, was kind of looking at ALS and what the capabilities are for our department to be able. I've been working a lot on that, trying to figure out when's a good time to do that. That process. One of the things that I'm doing is just, quick updates for the fire department and stuff. My vacancies, and I actually did that by hiring 2 people, and I'm taking money that we use for the people kind of working on the call department covering shifts because that hasn't been successful, and I'm kind of switching. Full-time people are going to be working kind of covering that. As we're looking at ALS as work paramedics in the area, there are shortages on trucks and stuff, so we're waiting longer. I've been on several calls where as a paramedic, I know one of the patients, but I can't do anything because we're not licensed at that level. Very difficult thing for me to sit there and watch and know what needs to be done, but I don't have a paramedic unit. The kind of middle of the road program, it's not as in-depth as the paramedic program is. It's 4 months, but it allows the staff to start IVs. There are cardiac medications they can give, good boluses that can be given to patients that kind of stabilize blood pressures and that kind of stuff, some respiratory medication, and kind of bridges that gap. And it also allows the paramedics to be available for the difference in when someone's having a heart attack and the medications that they can give and the treatments they can give. It's that next level in ALS care. So kind of looking at that, I believe I don't know if you guys got it in your packet. There was a kind of a phased in approach that I was by using money from the ambulance receipts account to kind of pay for that to get the staff advanced EMT. That is the next level for us. It gives them some experience. And then it's looking towards, maybe a year or 2 after that is going to the paramedic level. My best way of seeing us getting to that is actually training our own people in-house. People from outside the organization, we have such a shortage that in order to attract people, job shopping, if you will, and they go to whoever pays the most. And with the per diem program, or you get somebody that's looking for a paycheck, they're not necessarily committed to the organization. And stuff. They're committed. Obviously, my employees are very committed. They come back in the middle of the night. Vacation. It's not about the money. It's about, what they do for the community. So in a nutshell, to get to with the money without actually trying to ask the taxpayers to fund the program, I'm hoping to the actual ambulance receipts that we're making by being able to pay for any of the training that goes on, and kind of looking towards that future of looking at for the advanced level. The cardiac monitors are very expensive. Each monitor that you buy. Eventually, we need to have 2 of them for both ambulances, but starting with that money from the money that taking the money from the ambulance receipts account. By doing that, it'll also increase our call volume. We'll end up doing too. And when we get to that point with the paramedic program, if we decide to go, money that will be brought in on that as well, just because of those additional calls that we. And what this program kind of allows us to do is if we went the advanced EMT route, was one of those things that we decided we didn't want to go any further with the paramedic program. We don't have to be we need to continue on with that. We don't need to have people trained. We can kind of phase that in. However, in, concert with talking with you and the town and figuring out when's the best time to make. And the staff can operate at that advanced level, which does allow them to be able to treat patients that.
Is this also an opportunity for us to save money? So you're not calling in? You have people that are capable of performing those services?
Yeah, that is part of when kind of looking at the revenue that can be made. We're spending roughly about $6 right now on ALS services, having the paramedics come in to treat the patients. The amount of times that they need to come in, obviously that money stays in our bank. We don't pay them. At the same time, if we're utilized for other departments and stuff, going out, we actually increase our. So it does reduce the reliance on that, again, if we go and become at the paramedic level, instead of giving that money away, we'd be keeping it in our coffers.
Well, plus two, it allows growth.
This is one of the things, in the proposal that I put in there, there's 21 members of the department. Members are going to take the advanced EMT program just because of timing, and I think there are some that just aren't going to be interested in the EMT level. There are like I myself am a that won't be taking that program, but I put the total number in there just as that buffer as all firefighters that hopefully will be going through the process or candidates to become call firefighters. Hopefully will be going to that AEMT class as well. So again, it's the paramedic was a big jump for a lot of people. I had fewer people that were interested in going to the paramedic program, breaking a basic EMT and making that jump, if you will, 2 levels up. But a lot about looking at being able to be an advanced EMT and giving that care and kind of fine tuning their skills that way.
You answered one of my interested because this is a big time commitment
Yep.
to go ahead with the advanced training. And then explain a little bit more in detail why you can't use your training, because I just learned today because in work this way,
Correct.
and I could have gone
Yep.
to the next level of training. Those skills.
Yes.
My aunt was a paramedic. She
Yep.
worked on her ambulance there as a paramedic.
Yep. In Massachusetts, this is the way the office OEMS, Office of EMS, chooses. In order for you to operate at a paramedic level, you have to provide paramedics 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, if they're needed. If for some reason you don't have the ability to do that, you have to have a backup plan with services that can provide the same. The systems that I've worked in outside of Mass, you had paramedics, you were licensed at that level, and if you had the paramedic on the call, they operated to that level, but they were back to being a BLS truck or using advanced EMTs. Massachusetts user of the AEMT program, they prefer either basic or paramedic. In order for me to apply to move to that next level, I have to have a plan that's in place that paramedics that have a backup and I can choose when I want to do that, whether it's, but it has to be done in that period of time, and I have to have trained people that are certain cover that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So that's one of the things of by going to the I can do. That will be a much easier process to be able to show that that's going to be something all the time by my staff, because I'll have enough people that want to take the advanced EMT program that level. And it's one of those things. It's the way OEMS works is they licensed units, meaning each one of the ambulances, I have to pay them for the ambulance to be used. If as a backup, I have to pay for that one. I have to pay $200 for that, if you will, the equipment on the engine to use that as a first responder to put, have to pay to have that engine licensed as an EMS unit. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I'm kind of hoping some of the regulations in Massachusetts will change, because again, we're short on, and they get overutilized. There are a lot of services that they require a paramedic and everything. I think that's where we as a service down here need to change our paradigm on reaction calls and sending BRs to where they're supposed to go, and keeping the ALS ones in service for people that truly need it. Yeah, I'm sorry. That was kind of a run around. I'm not sure if I actually answered your question.
That is exactly what I wanted. I had another thought that just went zooming out of my head, so I think we're good.
Same vein, obviously, Chief come from New Hampshire. I'm Massachusetts, in some ways, by the way they do things in New Hampshire, but I think, passionate about what he does, and some of the conversations we've had, and I won't speak to specifics, but not a faster service for residents, but I also can't imagine you're a paramedic and you can help them, but you can't, and you have
Yeah.
to stand there. And how frustrating that must be parents or guardians, and also for the folks who have, basically
Yeah.
taken an oath to help
Right.
people, restricting them from doing that.
Yeah, this changed, it was probably a week or town meeting, in May. We had a call, and it was an infant, services, and I sat there watching that child and, knowing that I could do something, but I
But
didn't
you
have
couldn't.
any of the tools. I'm not allowed to carry it, and I could do. And we were waiting for the medic unit to show up, and where you have to kind of make that decision that it's better for you to head to the emergency room and start transferring to Children's Hospital there. And having the parents to say that we can't wait for the paramedic, which they were not happy about. As we were leaving, the paramedic unit was coming down the road and they were able to jump in with us. But for it, thing, I understand where we are and stuff, but that's where I get emotional and it's difficult because I look at what I could do that day and I look at it that I fail because I wasn't able to do the job that I'm supposed to be. And that was the day after that call, I walked into Kristen's office and I was like, today's the day that I'm actually pushing. Don't want to do this again. And it's happened a couple times and for me, it's a horrible position to be the rest of the town.
Mhm.
This is a lot of money to look at. And I'm not looking to push. I want to be able to do it in a way that is financially responsible for the town. The taxpayer money, I can take it from that ambulance receipt line. And some of the conversations that I've had, that's supposed to be there to replace equipment and stuff, and it is. And my plan is to go forward so that every 5 years we're capable of buying an ambulance to replace one, knowing that we time on getting the ambulance, but it's the same time of doing it in a smart way that I know that I can pay for the ALS equipment that's in there that's quite expensive, out of those receipts that we get. So funding itself. And if it gets to the point where it can't, it's coming to you to explain why. That if there's more money that needs to be put into it, they're aware of it before that actually comes.
The phase approach, yeah, because you're not coming to the town and saying, oh, by the way, anybody got 500K? It's this amount will get us to here. This amount helps us to get to here, and so there's benefits along the way of we're gonna get money. Oh, so there's this that's going on, so.
Yep.
Kudos to you for taking that like gangbusters and going.
Yeah.
Fork it over.
Yep.
Because this is how we're going.
Half that I was here, we were the paramedic units that were kind of available. There wasn't a long wait on. Now we're seeing just with Bolton's our primary medic unit that we use. We have out of Hudson and Marlboro that we use. But it's getting so busy. We had a patient on Saturday that we transported to the BLS level because we could not get a paramedic. And that's part of that, looking at that next level of saying this is happening more frequently and I expect increase. So trying to combat that and make sure that we can sustain it on our own.
No.
And the quicker you can get people
next time that they meet, regarding plans for any type walkway I can't remember. It's paved going in it, isn't it?
Which part?
Into the courts.
I haven't been in there.
It's paved. I can always swing by, but I'm almost positive it's paved. Or that there's a designated ADA spot there, which is something that we probably,
Well, I think the parking part is dirt. It may be paved on the way in. I can't. If you
I'll
can
take
look,
I'll take
that
a
would be
stroll by. Okay.
So
Yeah.
I would recommend, I know on the warrant,
Mm-hmm.
but I certainly understand there's a lot going on down at South Commons. Like we're be seen as taking money away from somebody who that was initially allocated to. There is funding left over, what that might be able to be repurposed for. Brown Barn
Mhm.
demo that we did end up funding out of ARPA. But I think that could definitely discussion.
Okay.
So the next one I recommended removing was fire permit revolving fund. I did speak with June. These funds are already receipts, which I wasn't thinking about. So this is essentially like moving funds from one place to another. Be to raise the fees in alignment with comparable communities to bring in and then subsequently increase the FY27 fire and EMS annual cost, with the understanding that there will be some additional revenue coming in on local. Set that, because otherwise you're literally just playing like the shell game of
Mhm.
moving money from one place. I also removed accepting MGL Chapter 90, Section 20A. That was the question on the parking clerk and the parking fine. We have already Section 20A. And the main difference between the two statutes is slightly lower fines, but we have the ability council to appoint a parking clerk and a parking tickets hearing officer and create a process. Oh my goodness,
Parking ticket.
ticket hearings. So I will place this on our select board agenda, because what we should do is get that process put in place and update the parking board has put to add a section on this. One thing that council did note, the town can still ultimately end up in district court under either of these statutes. Prior acceptance does allow for that local intermediary step, which hopefully will help to in that direction. I also would probably recommend that parking tickets hearing officer and the clerk are appointed by the select board. I would recommend we do the process, and I have experience perhaps retired law enforcement serving in that hearing tickets capacity. That worked really well in my experience. So perhaps someone who used to be interested in doing this. I don't see it as a stipended position for an employee. I don't think you that position, but somebody who understands enforcement and knows how to walk probably be good there. So
Yeah.
we'll bring that back on a future agenda.
And you can pay that out of the revenue from the ticket.
Yeah, if you do need to make a payment, absolutely. We would have to figure. I can
Yeah,
talk to
I
Jen.
mean,
And
it's
speaking
a
of,
lot. I mean, to expect somebody to do that for free. I mean, you can, but
yeah. So speaking of revolving fund, we did remove the Earthworks Board revolving fund. Only libraries fines, which are unfortunate. So
Oh.
council recommends using what's known as the fifth process. And I've spoken to June about this. We're going to do some additional research on this, because it can also be utilized by conservation, ZBA, and planning board for how they take in fees and hold them, and sometimes then have to release them once a project is complete. For us to move to that process in general for a number of groups in the town. And then Article 1, as I mentioned, we went back to removing the free cash requests and looking at, and I'll finish explaining the rest of that in a moment. Article 3, which is the just to clarify, the local acceptance of the statute only pertains to for the specific purpose of constructing low and moderate income housing. Reason, if this statute is adopted, you can have the vote at town meeting reduced from 2, but just for that specific purpose, not for like any general transfer of town-owned property. Article 4, which is the 25-mile-per-hour speed limit. I research, but council noted that enforcement has been a problem in all of the that have accepted this statute. And the reason is this versus a regulatory law, which means fines for speeding force, plus we can only post that speed limit with the authorization of Mass DOT. So if it's not posted and you get a ticket, it's pretty easy to get out of it because you got a ticket on speed limit posted on it, and we can't do that ourselves. So council's recommend start with Mass DOT and follow their guidance for how to implement a townwide posted roads. I mean, they're not saying don't do it, but it just is very.
I mean, it would be kind of timely because if you are going to have a 25 mile town, I can only imagine the amount of people that are going to get bagged through, which would just reinforce the need for our parking clerk and right. So the parking clerk and parking ticket officer, does that have
Not
any?
moving by like. Well, and also
It's
this would
just
be,
parking.
yeah, and
Okay.
this would be any currently in a thickly settled or business district in the town that we could go to 25. So we can't do it
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, there's going to be a ton of questions on this for Eric.
This
Best
may
to be
a
prepared.
Passover, and we can, I think it makes sense to leave it on here. We can, if we want to pass it over and have the chief come on 11/3 for our meeting. He's at the police chief's conference at the moment, so he did to some of us that serves and ask some of the other chiefs that he speaks with how this has worked in there. I mean, Petrini represents between 10 and 15 towns, and they literally this has had problems. So
Well, because here's going to
What
be the
in
big
the
question.
world
I
is the
mean,
point?
when Eric gives his report and he says 500 moving violations, but we only issued 3 tickets, people are going to say, oh, so what?
Right.
Now you've just lowered the speed limit. Are you still gonna it? Because if you are, stop stopping me. So I in this, and that's gonna be a really good question that he's gonna have to.
put that back on him to do the research and make a recommendation based on council's input.
Okay.
I'm sad about this one. Article 5, amending the town meeting bylaw. The language related to if somebody misses 3 meetings, then we can declare a vacancy. Seen issues with the implementation of this language in other communities, and they believe the AG's office should be done with caution, as there are statutes that authorize the creation of certain boards, common ZBA, that actually have specific processes for the removal of a member. Hearing. There's also the concern the bylaw could be used improperly to go after someone. And it is always advisable that board and committee members, unless not reappointed, hearing under executive session purpose 1, which they can choose to have an open session, move a member. So you really don't want to do that, vote to unappoint, because you could be disparaging the individual and open the town up to claims. It's just basically removal of active members is fraught with issues, in the words of town council. Reappointment and not reappoint, at which time no reason is required to. However, Lisa and I spoke a bit about this earlier today. If somebody's at the beginning of a 3-year term, they move to Florida, but they don't want to resign, and we actually had this situation. So could do a policy for some of the boards that are not regulated under Mass General Law.
Mhm.
And ask council if we can put that in place, because I just think it's an impediment to progress on these and just doesn't show up to the meetings.
Yeah, I also think in general with for something like that, a policy than putting it in stone in a bylaw. So I would have recommended.
That's smart, because I mean, the special town meetings that we have are always drastically. And I would hate for. Four people in the audience. And then all of a sudden it's what? Which, and then, yeah. You get rid of elected people.
But you can't, this would only
Yeah.
be for appointed
Just
that are
appointed.
not statutory,
Well,
which makes that pool smaller, for sure. The amend town meeting bylaw, which are to strike the time at which it starts. Speakers to a maximum of 3 minutes on any question. Council unless time is extended by the vote of town meeting. But that was those are no problem to have. And one thing they was, if there becomes an issue about the time, and you can always hold earlier and first. So you know the portion of the warrant that we do, you do have to do two separate. If you think about it, it's the same number of pages, so you could mail it out together.
Yeah.
There is another path.
how's the moderator feeling about, 3 minutes for a chit chat?
I will let you know tomorrow when we meet.
Yeah, I'm curious too. So they said. And that because I've seen the moderator deciding, as opposed to a town meeting.
If it's
but-
written in bylaws, that is acceptable.
So are we gonna, if this passes a clock? I mean, I say it kiddingly, but
No, I
I
know
also
what you
say
mean.
it serious.
We-
Because I could be like,
Yeah.
all right, and then a minute in, I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to start
We're-
on Lisa.
that we used to do, we used to have an actual timer and they would hold up, red or green, yellow when you're getting close.
Okay.
Red,
All right.
I think. I would have to get somebody on board with doing that.
Okay, all right, well, something else. All right,
It's pretty typical for debates and those types of things, I mean. I don't think.
Absolutely. So those are all the things that were removed. To Article 1, I can finish up there. So fire transfers, the 3 accounts that are plus are currently running a surplus or I'm comfortable looking at are workers' comp insurance for the year, and it does have a balance of $8,500. One of the reasons that our insurance is coming in lower than anticipated is we really well in our favor, so there is a little bit left there. The same able to apply to this year's. So there was no way to know that when we set the budget, but 1,000 from there, that still leaves 10,000 in that account to be able to cover and add on to the policy and any deductibles that need to be paid. And lastly, interestingly enough, health insurance, we're first of the fiscal year, so you would think we'd be at about a 25%
meeting tonight, which should be available on YouTube shortly. I believe that Carolyn Reedy from Habitat for Humanity was there to answer questions all out for that if you're interested in this project.
Questions on Article 6? All right, Article for the select board to acquire any necessary easements on Carter Street Central for the Complete Streets Road Improvement Project. So this article to acquire any non-monetary easements that are needed. If they're associated with acquiring the easement, that would have to go back to town meeting, but as we are in the concept, we don't have those easements detailed out at this time in order to be able to live locations and no funding. We haven't done the negotiations with the groups. There's likely to be one easement on Carter Street. That's the only one that's work that the engineers have done. And that would enable the Carter Street. So I am hoping that there will be some willingness to work with the town. I know that I did a door-to-door campaign when we did the complete community, and we had to do easements up and down Route 56. About 26 easements we needed, and we managed to get about 18. So I'm really hoping folks in town understand that this is an improvement project and they'll work.
Facts. Get rid of the falseness that has become facts, that is. So, for this one, whoever's standing up out of the three of us, there needs to be information that we can just like rattle off and, deflect them our way.
Really, this is, I mean, just asking for permission for the easement. I can be optimistic on this. It's not.
I'm gonna give you the look that you usually give me when he's sitting in the middle and I see this coming down the table. Okay, all right.
It is at the purview of the moderator, but I do have to say in my experience here, the moderator narrowly defines what is allowed in terms of how the article is written. And this article is specific to easement, to authorize the select board to negotiate easements. It doesn't talk about where sidewalks are going. It doesn't talk about what
It's
improvements
just-
are being
it's-
done.
Just the ability for us to ask.
Correct, so that we can basically move forward with a $500,000 grant
Mhm.
that we received. This is not an opportunity to say you don't like the project, you want to send the money back.
Mhm.
We already have the project money and the project is moving forward. So, you know, that obviously, like I said, it's at the purview of the
Mhm.
moderator, but I would say any discussion about conceptual plans would be outside of the scope of this article.
Okay.
All right, Article 8 is the Planning Board zoning bylaw amendment of section 444.3 regarding drive-up facilities at highway and regional shopping centers. So this would allow drive-up facilities for restaurants in the Highway Shopping Center Overlay District, which includes Highland Commons, and the Regional Shopping Center Overlay District, which includes the Solomon Pond Mall. As it is a zoning amendment, it does require a 2/3 majority vote. I think we talked about
Yeah.
that one a few times
Mhm.
too.
There is a hearing,
Yes,
Is
there
that
is.
28th,
Yeah.
next Tuesday
so
for that.
There is. I know. I
Yeah.
just saw that come through. Don't have the time off the top of my head. I know they
it's at
usually meet.
8 PM, I believe.
Great. And those are online, I believe,
Yes,
right?
PB does online. Mhm.
Great. So check out MyTownGov for the link to the planning board hearing on the drive-through facilities at the 2 malls next week.
What date was it? Because I know I put it in my calendar.
Tuesday, 28th,
The 28th.
2 days from Dee's birthday.
Yes.
It is.
Wow, you're
I'm just-
blowing-
I
you're
know,
blowing up
I know, I'm
everybody
just like the
tonight.
birthday fairy over here, just saying.
It is, it is 8 PM.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you can pick up the cake anytime. You don't have to wait for us.
Goodness.
And then Article 9 is the citizens petition from a Margaret Stone. that you may or may not be familiar with, regarding drive-throughs as well. Entirely up to you, but if the planning board article passes, you may choose to pass over this article should you like.
Correct. And for those out there wondering why there are two items on the warrant that are extremely similar, as a resident and as a citizen of Berlin, I looked at what was not going on in regard to removing the archaic bylaw, portion of the bylaw banning drive-throughs in town. So met with several parents. Thank you for everyone that I met with and that signed the petition. Part of it was that I was hoping to make planning board move a little bit quicker on this. So it truly was the first one to the warrant would get on. So mine did go on first and then they met to do theirs. So I will wait to see what the vote is and then we'll take appropriate action when my citizens petition comes up.
And that is your fall town meeting warrant. So
Okay.
you have a couple of options here. You can vote to sign the warrant this evening if you would like, which would enable us to get it to the printer next week and get it out a week earlier. Or if you still have some questions, concerns, would like to rework any of the language, we could have a meeting next Monday, just a one-off meeting for just this. I know the vacation schedule and the shifting is a little strange. So I wanted to give you that option if that works for all of you. Or some of you or none of
I
you.
love how you say I'm on vacation. I'm traveling for business. This is not going to
I'm
be fun. while
sorry.
I'm
I
away.
meant to say
Mhm.
away. I didn't mean to say
Away.
vacation.
Mhm.
Apologies. That means you get to have no fun. while
I
you're
will
gone
have
at
no
all.
fun. Mhm.
So, if you do decide to vote to sign it tonight, I would ask that you allow me to make any grammatical changes. I have not done a thorough proofread of this yet, like I like to do. So,
Yeah, and there were those couple things.
yes.
Outstanding, just administrative sort of things.
I'm good. I don't think we need to.
I'm
do
good.
next
I
week.
don't think we need to meet next week.
All right. So is there a motion to vote to sign the November 17th, 2025 special town meeting warrant?
So moved.
I will second it. We've already had tons of discussion. All those in favor? Aye. All right, so then there will be no select board meeting on October 27th. We will skippy that over since we've taken care of that tonight. So next up under business, other business is the Fall Fest from the Recreation Committee.
And I thought they were going to attend, but maybe they aren't.
I don't know.
Okay.
They had thought it was Monday. I let them know it was Tuesday. I let them know that we were having virtual if they wanted to pop in, but I'm going to assume.
No attendees.
It's been up
right
and
now.
down.
Yeah, but we've had a
all
lot
right.
of technical issues and we are on a Tuesday, like you
Yeah.
said. I can tell you this corresponds, as you've already
Mhm.
talked about, with the liquor license. It is Sunday, Sunday, October 26th, over on South Commons.
Right.
And so this is a special event application for permission to use town-owned property for the event. And Dee, I believe the feedback we've received is in the file. We're just waiting for, oh no, I'm sorry, the insurance certificate is for the
Liquor.
liquor.
Have you had any updates? I know there were some emails going around regarding the bounce house. Yes or no?
I have not been updated since the email from
Mr. Hanks?
building.
Okay,
to recreation indicating they needed to contact the state or
so,
the place they're renting from to make sure that their jumpies have been inspected by the state.
all right.
And I'm just gonna ask the question quick because I didn't ask it before. I'm sure it's taken care of, but we have talked to our insurance about, and they are fine with having a festival with liquor on town property.
We've held them before
Mhm.
and we're covered under our insurance as long as it is a town committee on town property. We would need we would need the town to be listed as additionally insured by the brewing company.
Yep.
But the recreation committee is covered under the umbrella of our insurance, and we will be covered under the umbrella of the liquor liability of the brewery.
Awesome. I just wanted to
Yeah,
make sure.
no, that's
'cause-
fair.
So regarding back to the bouncy house, it is Rec's responsibility to get in touch with the state. In the event they do not,
They may
or it's
have
not
the bouncy
time.
house.
And when somebody drives by on Sunday and there's 2 bouncy houses that are up, who's taking them down? Just, I love playing devil's advocate.
Enforcement is always the hardest part of these events because we, especially when it's a town committee, we rely on them to do what they're asked to do.
Is it, I mean, is it a law? Is it who? Who is
The state regulation the state oversees the bouncy house in particular. I would say if they don't have the compliance with either state or local regulations, the only option that I've seen exercised in the past is to have the police shut the event down,
Okay,
Ugh.
so,
which is just terrible. And
Oh.
I get that nobody would want to do that.
so could the police just say no bouncy house?
Sure,
Okay, so
Mhm.
that would be at your
How about-
discretion. If you direct us
mean-
in that way, we can.
does that
Mm-hmm,
work for you
mm-hmm.
rather than shutting it down? Should they? I'm gonna hope that everything's fine, but just because we have to have contingency plans. I think
Yep.
police go, and if there is a bouncy house, then that piece of it cannot go forward if there are not the appropriate permissions.
And I would ask, I will be out of town on Sunday. So if there is an issue, if someone could please contact me and I will work with Chief Shartner if an issue such as that presents.
I'm working. Can you drive by?
I can, how, can you let us know if they have the, I mean, I assume they're gonna give the town the permissions that they have?
They should, we can.
How do,
follow up
because
with
otherwise,
them.
how do we know?
Right.
If they have the permissions? I think that the town needs to know. They need to provide the town with that information.
I will reach out to Felicia tonight as well and remind her that this needs to get done.
We need a
And
copy of.
we need a copy of it, or
Approval.
unfortunately, there will be no bouncy houses at the event.
And I think that's part of it too.
Yep.
No proof of,
Correct.
then we still need to,
And again, I don't want to be viewed as the select
No,
board,
it's-
being mean and cruel and rotten, but unfortunately, there are policies and procedures that are in place for a specific reason. And God forbid, some little kid boings around and boings out and breaks something, and they weren't supposed to be there. The town is in a world of hurt, and people aren't going to be kind if that's their kid.
Our insurance will not cover it without the approval from the state, so it cannot be there. And I do have to say, in terms of enforcement, as Dee mentioned, that is the most challenging part. I have never in 20 years been in a situation where you have town entities not following the directives of the select board. So this is new territory for me.
While we're speaking of more fun, and Peg is the Smile Sucker Police,